Actually, I think there's a real opportunity here as well to recognise that some of the techniques we're talking around mental health can also have the benefit of shifting the culture and challenging the stigma around wider ability. So we now have line managers telling their story.
Have you managed a disabled person? And what's your lived experience of disability? And then that takes you into a whole... You have to be able to adapt the training in order to deliver what comes out of what comes out of that.
They recently brought in some young people with Down syndrome to do this job after having a real problem that they kept recruiting people. The turnover was massive because people said it was a boring job, didn't like it and would move on. And the quality of the work was poor because people just... so boring, mundane. They brought in, I think it was about 6 young people with Down syndrome who actually loved the job and are really, really good at it. Some of the things we're doing, and it's interesting, this morning we were running one with Business Disability Forum and KPMG, so again 2 of the people in the room, 3 of us really work in a partnership running an event. This is really trying to tackle this issue that Philip's identified, that staff say one of my key priorities is a disability confident, supportive, knowledgeable line manager, and at the moment I'm not getting it for a number of reasons. When you have a conversation with somebody, it's about also speaking to them in terms of what can I share with the rest of the team, and that's important because if you're making an adjustment, some other people might think, well, why are they getting special treatment, particularly if it's a non-visible disability? So it's about having that conversation. What can we share?
Any reflections on what Ray's just presented? I'd be interested if there's any thoughts. For example, around the recruitment side, using different ways of interviewing, having a centre of excellence, things like having really clear policies.
Do you have any statistics about the success levels for those that went down the guaranteed interview scheme versus those who chose not to?
We have to guarantee this interview, if they are disabled. But if you've already decided not good for the job, then how do we tell them?
Yeah.
So the problem is, if the process still continues to be the same for everyone, coming for the guaranteed interview doesn't really achieve anything because they've already made up their mind, essentially.
Yeah.
So that requires a training of the recruiters.
One of the things that we often say, I'm sure lots of people in this room say, is that when we get it right for disabled people, we generally speaking get it right for everyone.
Yeah.
And I was struck when we were talking about the Positive Action Pathway programme, that it's really good because it's more supportive and you get a mentor. And I was just thinking, do any of those sort of learnings from that, are they then transferred to the main fostering programmes and as a specific, and more generally, are some of the kind of positive action approaches that you're doing to support disabled colleagues, are the positive things from that actually transferred back into some of your mainstream approaches?
It costs quite a lot of money, and if they don't get access to work support, that's another £40,000 in addition to their salary. Do you have any data to see a comparison between those who get funded by access to work and who don't, in terms of recruiting and retaining people with those high needs?
Who around the table has successfully implemented a timely, effective and integrated workplace adjustment system, and how have you done it?
The managers can use that service as well for advice, because we know from the breakdown that 52% of all the cases that have come through us that can be resolved with a bit of advice.
What links are there for students back into university and the sort of adjustments that are made or support? Helen, is that part of something that is disclosed when students are looking for jobs?
Top-up assessment for transitioning. Very basic, but it's quite effective in telling the student what help they should expect and what really government schemes like access to work can do to help. But that's not really done in a systematic way, and I think that gap needs to be narrowed. Taking the power away from line manager has been critical success. However, sometimes it's difficult for organizations to have a pot of money saying that's for reasonable adjustment. Tell us how we could make you be more productive, and we'll find the solution.